Hi everyone, it's Enoch Miller, your Empress of West Hollywood here at the amazing Flaming Saddles where we'll be having our event later this evening for the Best of West Hollywood. Hope you all can come out and come and join with us, which is going to be so much fun. I'm here with the amazing Derek Jameson. Hi Derek, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good. And so Derek's originally, he does singing, songwriting, producing, he's done a little bit of acting, philanthropy. There really isn't much you haven't done in this setting. Let's go back to the very beginning with you. And you were originally a California boy from San Jose. When did you move to Austin, Texas?
I moved to Austin in 2007, and that was just briefly for about a year until I came back to California.
And was California always your first love?
Yes. I knew I was going to move down to LA since I was a teenager, and the first time I came, it was just, I came through and I called, and I knew that one day I'd do it.
Yeah. So you've done a lot, really just on the aspect of education. Extensive knowledge and extensive looking into what you've done. You went to De Anza College for anthropology, Cal University of Pennsylvania for sports management, Create Music Academy for your music production and engineering, NASM National Academy for sports medicine, health and fitness. I swear to God, I'm almost done. And Mission College for fire protection in Santa Clarita. What inspired you? Let's go to the first one. What inspired you to do anthropology? Because that's kind of like the more out there one from the full list.
Yeah. Well, when I got into college, I didn't know what I wanted to study. I didn't realize that you could really study anything you ever wanted to. You just didn't know it was there because of what you had to learn in high school.
Right.
So when I got there and I took an anthropology class as one of the basic courses, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And it inspired me to actually travel, and it inspired me to really learn about human beings and how we interact with each other, and I thought it was fascinating, so I focused on it.
And anthropology really is, it gives you an insight into not just who we are today, but where we've been and how we got to this point in our history, and it's really amazing too. Obviously I like to watch Bones, and so you see a lot of that with there, but on a real world application, it's really cool to see cultures, how they develop, how they interact, and all the different things like that.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to find out about you. And then obviously it makes sense with sports medicine and the different things you do through Phoenix Effect, as well as then obviously your music production, composing, engineering, God, everything in music I feel like you can do, which is amazing. Let's talk about the early years of your music career, back in the 90s, 96. When you first started singing, kind of explain that part of your life working at, it was Paramount's Great America. So kind of explain that part of your life and really how you kind of got involved with that.
I got involved as a character at Paramount's Great America because of a girl that was in my class. And she just asked me if I would like to be a character at the theme park. And it was my first job, and I started doing things like Scooby-Doo and Fred Flintstone, and you name it, Dino, all that stuff. And then I kind of just grew up with the show production, and I got into the Scooby-Doo show, and I got into the Nickelodeon shows, and hosting and things like that. So that's what really set me off to be able to do stage performing and doing live shows. Yeah,
because you did Nicktoons live at 5 as well.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of, that's a great way to kind of launch yourself into this career because, the amount of experience you probably got through that and knowledge of working with that industry was probably very valuable.
Yeah.
What did you feel was your biggest takeaway from the early parts of your life, learning of oh my God, because I learned this, so this really helped set me on my path to be an artist?
Probably listening to what people want. It's not necessarily, when you're a performer, you're not doing it just for you, you're doing it for the people that are watching you. It's about their experience. It's not always about you. It's not that selfish.
Yeah.
And I learned how to have guest service, to be honest with you, so that way I could entertain people, give them what they want.
Yeah, and that I think is the hardest thing of listening to your fans, figuring out what they're looking from you as a singer, and also staying true to who you are in your own voice. And I think what was really the hardest part of it all? Obviously being so young, a lot of people consumes your life, but what really was the hardest part of it in the very beginning before you really kind of okay, now I've got a rhythm down, I kind of got my flow?
Yeah, I didn't care about myself, I didn't love myself. So when you're sitting there and you don't actually have self-love and you're putting yourself on a stage to perform in front of people and you already feel judged by everybody.
Got it.
You're feeling extra judged by parents and teenagers and up and down the scale.
Yeah.
So it forced me to kind of get through it and have to deal with the fact that I knew I was being judged in different ways.
Yeah.
And it forced me to do that.
And people think teenagers are the worst. Parents are actually the worst because they make you feel so bad. Because an authority figure is an adult coming at you, and I had that happen once when I used to do teaching for acting, and it was like I yelled at the child, I knew I shouldn't have did. That mom came in, I felt like crap.
Yeah.
Kid, I didn't feel bad, but mom, I felt bad. And you're just like, they just make you feel so, like, you're just like, holy crap, oh my god, I'm so sorry. But you're right, that pressure is intense, especially for someone at the age of 15. It's a really impressionable part of your life. So talk a little bit about, now you've been doing this for the better part of half your life now, doing this since right about like 96 to 2000 was the first beginning parts, and then 2000 really started Derek Jameson as a musician. What's kind of been the process now of growing and expanding your brand and who you are as an artist?
I just focus on making sure that I'm bettering myself. That's why I continue to go to school and production school so that I can learn techniques and things. I want to help other people out as well.
Yeah.
So other artists, friends of mine, I want to be able to create something for them and help them further their careers. Anything I do in life is to help other people, regardless if it's music or fitness or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my goal, is just writing better, teaming up with people, creating something on a bigger scale so that more people can hear it.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. And it's honestly, I think what I find a lot of people say that's very hard for them in the music industry is writing your own material, because, I mean, if you've got to be very meticulous, it's a lot of work, and you've got to make sure it sounds and flows and is appropriate for everything you're trying to put out there. In doing your own compositions and then producing everything yourself, what do you find is kind of the biggest thing you get out of it, and then what's kind of the biggest challenge you have with it?
Well, the challenge is creating something that is going to be commercial enough that the mass of people are going to respond to it.
Yeah.
You can either write completely artistically, but then that doesn't mean that everyone's going to connect with you.
Right.
Things need to be relatable, so it depends on what your goal is. If you want to make music that more people listen to, you're going to make something more commercial that people are going to connect to, but still holding on to your artistic integrity and the part of you that writes that, or else what makes it different than anything else?
Exactly.
So.
And then what would you say is the thing you most enjoy about it? Other than making people happy, what do you find that you get the most pleasure out of it?
I'm surprising myself, thinking that maybe this is a silly song I'm writing, or this sounds silly, and then once you play it live or give someone a sample and they're like, nope, that's it. That's going to be the song. You surprise yourself on what your capabilities are, and you're reminded of what you can actually accomplish if you just trust yourself a little bit more.
No, completely agree. And then let's go to your debut album, which was, I know, I always keep messing this up, so I've had to like repeat myself several times to make sure I didn't screw up. But the Invention of Love. This was around 2010, 2011 when this first came out.
Yes.
And it was, I really liked it because it gives you a little bit of diversity, because it's poppy, it's a little EDM-y, and a lot of like fun, and like you can dance to it, but it also has lyrics that really grab at your heartstrings, make you think and kind of go, ooh, like what did he say right there? I actually like that. I could actually relate to it. What was your favorite thing about producing that whole album with that?
That was the whole start of me writing and composing things that were pop or dance.
Okay.
That I did it in the mind of a specific person that was a choreographer.
Cool.
You know, Rib Cage, the original song, that was the song that had me go, I'm going to write a pop song. I'm going to push my limits rather than just piano vocal all the time. I'm going to kind of push into that realm. Yeah. And that was the launch of where we are today in that creation process.
And it really was cool because it is, it's something, the beat is not over-the-top EDM. It's not poppy in the sense that it's just like everyday pop. It really just, it's something you're like, oh my god, I can sit here and I can totally just dance to this and jive to it the whole time. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun and really has like a great kind of story behind it too as well, and people really pay attention to the lyrics. And then you did the music video for it, and the setting was you guys were in kind of this boxing ring, kind of boxing gym that you're going to see in the movies, and kind of explain the intention behind it and then the purpose of why you did it like that.
Well, a lot of the things that we go through in life are battling ourselves. It's not necessarily everything that happens doesn't have to deal with another person. Right. It depends on how you react to it and how you feel about it.
That internal struggle.
Yes,
kind of
it's
thing.
the internal fight. So, and anyone can relate to that.
No,
and that's
definitely
relatable in the video. Along with that, just being dressed up nice and kind of presenting one idea and then kind of taking that off to show you what is actually.
And no one was mad about him taking that off, just so we know. But it really was. It was just that whole, as you talked, I mean, you see the video and the progression of like just really bearing it all in it, and you're just saying like I'm tired of this whole like facade, and it's just like I'm basically beating myself up. It was really cool to see, and the visual's great, and the music is really fun, and it just kind of, it really gives you that whole fun energy of just like, I can totally dance to this, and like, just like, and also totally relate. When it came out, what were did you have any like initial expectations for this song, since it was your first time ever writing and composing a full album? Or were you just like, I'm praying this is gonna work?
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know that I was gonna be. I didn't know that I was gonna start playing in all the clubs. And I didn't know that I was gonna be given dancers to perform in places like here.
Right.
Because it's where I used to perform.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that that's what was gonna happen until someone said, "I want to give you dancers. I want to do choreography. We can do this and this and this." And then I just said yes, and I accepted that. So I didn't have an expectation. I was just trying to be better and still get what was in me out and challenge myself as an artist and write things. And it just so happens that people connected with it and still connect with that particular song, actually, around the world, surprisingly. So I didn't have any expectations, but I like what came from it.
Yeah, I love it though. What's been your experience of being like a live performer, going on stage and doing your albums, doing your songs, and putting that out there? I know a lot of people say it's a little nerve-wracking to have that many people all there in front of you. It's a sea of people, and they're all staring at you, and it's this like surreal moment of like, they're all here to see me. Kind of what's that feeling, being up on stage in front of a live audience?
Well, you go up again knowing that you're going to be judged.
Right.
But when you can go up on a stage and say, you know what, I wrote this song.
Right.
This is my story. No one else can tell this story the way I can, because it is about the delivery and how you're telling your story. So I always try to remind myself of that, and I always try to remind myself to do as best as I can.
Yes.
And keeping that in mind. And everywhere is different too. When you do a setting, that sometimes some of the gay settings weren't as appealing because the response wasn't so great. But then I was doing clubs like Pop Stars, and the response was amazing, and everyone was screaming up and down. It really depended on the night you were performing on, the crowd that was coming through. But things like when I went to China and did my tour in China, it was amazing. Like literally every night, you had people screaming and raving over what you were doing.
Fantastic.
I was at table. I mean, it was incredible, and because they liked what you were doing. So it really just depends on the context and where you're doing it, and you just kind of hope for the best when you go in and perform.
Right. No, I totally get that. And so, what would you say is been the hardest part of being an LGBT artist in the LGBT scene, because it's, like you said, it's so, I'm going to say moody, but it's a little bipolar.
Moody.
It's special. But, I mean, it's a very challenging scene. A lot of ours have, because, I mean, the demographics are so, like, diverse. The people themselves are so diverse. The levels of taste are up and down when it comes to that. What has been your, like, maybe you're not your biggest challenge, but your biggest, maybe hurdle that you had to overcome to actually say, you know what, I've actually, like, I like this scene now, and it's a part of my community as well.
Well, when I was younger and I was just made fun of and bullied all the time, you know, you kind of hold on to that, and then you get past that at one point, because you're like, okay, that's different now. I'm older. It's not like high school and junior high. And then you start getting into your own community, and I think when people hold on to that stuff that they dealt with, they still project it. Yeah. So even,
we love to project.
Yes, it's a lot of projection. And I remember doing shows here, I mean, literally up and down the street, at every single club I performed at, when it was different names, the same names, whatever. Yeah. And I just remember a lot of things being said about me, really mean things said about me, even when what I was doing was full of positivity and light. And I remember that has nothing to do with me. Right. You know, and it challenged me to go, wow, even you make it past that point where you're bullied, and then you're bullied again by the people that were bullied. It's just the weirdest thing.
It really is. It's actually hilarious, because it's like, we're supposed to be all accepting and inclusive of each other. Yeah. We're the ones who judge each other the most in all different parts of our community, and it is fascinating to see, like, well, you should know where I'm coming from, because I'm coming from almost exactly where you came from. Yeah.
But it's hard to let go of what people go through. They don't know how to release and keep moving. they just know how to hold on.
Right.
Everybody always wants to hold on to whatever that hurt them or loved them in the past.
Exactly.
Without walking forward. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. But once you understand those things, that's how generally people think, you can have compassion for it and still just live by example rather than judging them back.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it built you up a very thick skin over the years.
Oh yeah. I can still pull up the things people said about me and be like, look it. That's okay.
Best.
Oh my God.
So we're gonna veer a little bit away and talk about kind of also things you were doing a little bit in tandem in the beginning with doing a little bit of acting on the side, like you said, you did the stuff with Paramounts. And what was your favorite part of doing stuff on film? Because I know some people have like a mix, like, oh, it was okay, it was fun, I loved it.
Yeah.
What was kind of your experience? Because you did Bloody Mary 3D back in, oh god, this was like back in 2011-ish as well.
Yeah, something like that.
You kind of played yourself in a way. It was you were playing a rock star in it.
I got that show because I did a show here when
it was
11.
Okay.
I did one performance, and then the director for that, Charlie Vaughn,
Wow.
he came up and he was like, where's your I need to see your resume or your acting resume. And I was like, I don't really have one because I wasn't pursuing it that much at the time except for what I was asked to do.
Right.
And then I was like, oh yeah. He goes, yeah, but I can tell that you're acting and I want to put you in this film. And I was like, okay. Then they used Ribcage in the film, which was fun.
Which is great though with that. And it was so funny because you had your co-star is Ron Jeremy.
Yes.
Which is, I mean, how is that working with him?
It was funny.
And how many times did he show you his dick? That's what I want to know.
It was funny and interesting. Well, because we were mostly in one setting, which was like a recording studio setting. And well, that was the fun part because you're lumped in with people that you wouldn't necessarily come across, and you work with these people, and they come from they've done different projects, they do different things, and that was my favorite part of it. I love doing that. I'll do it again. I just haven't done one or pursued it.
And then also Veronica Ricci, who was she basically plays the Bloody Mary character in it. What was it like working with her? And because I hear a lot of people say she's a character.
She is
on and off screen.
She really is. She's so sweet though. Like she was so sweet to me. I honestly loved hanging out with everyone. There was not a bad seed in that group because we just had fun.
Well,
and
they're also professionals too, as well. They've done it
work.
forever. Right. And then you kind of did one like not too long after that. It was called Popularity. And then they also brought on another one of your songs from Push On from that same album.
Yeah.
What was your kind of initial feeling of them wanting to actually use your music in the films themselves?
Well, I write cinematically. I write like it should be for things.
Oh, that's really smart.
And so, even there's a recent release out. It's a lesbian film.
Okay.
Called Girls Like Magic, and I have 2 songs in that too. I love when I can contribute something musically that I write that fits a scene of another, like to collaborate like
that's
that.
So cool though.
To fit the emotion of something that someone else creates in film. It just gives me chills thinking about it because I love that people want to collaborate like that. So I love that.
Well, and I find it really interesting that you kind of write with that ideal in mind of I want this to go along with something else, not just record and go out on an album, that you wanted to partner with other different things. And that. So that's really interesting that you do that, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. But you haven't done anything really since then, or have any approached with anything yet that we could be looking for?
Yes. Well, there's stuff that's happening, and I'm not going to say anything yet.
These damn NDAs.
Well, because, yes. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's popping up, coming out for, like, feature things that are going to come out on different networks. But stuff that's going to be coming out from music-wise is going to be on a bigger scale. I am just not going to say anything until it actually happens.
That makes sense.
Because, you
never know.
Business.
Yeah. Well, and also, too, it's like you never know when something's going to get pushed back. Is something like the date's going to change the launch or all this. I know how that is. That happens around here all the freaking time. So we'll kind of switch gears a little bit and go to talking about your personal training aspect, because you do a lot of work with that. You've been doing it since right around like 2006, when you initially started. You started at 24 Hour Fitness over here on Santa Monica. And what kind of drew you into doing personal training? Because it's a dedicated field. It's a lot of work. Obviously, the results are amazing, but it's a lot of work to do. For your body. But what kind of drew you into that?
Like I said, I wanted to always do something that helps people live more, and because of what I went through, physical fitness and becoming stronger, both physically, made you stronger mentally to get over those things that you went through. And I was actually in a pharmacy program at one of those colleges that you listed, and I graduated the whole program. They wanted me to go straight into the hospitals and like work in the hospitals.
Wow.
And I did 2 days in an externship, and the second day I was like, I can't do this. I'm going to dedicate myself to fitness and helping other people find that journey. And then I did it ever since. So that kind of like set me in that direction. Just helping people.
That makes sense. And now you're currently working with Phoenix Effect. It's, I mean, the amazing company, and oh my god, the workouts they put you through. I've seen videos of that. Kicks your ass, but it gives you a great ass afterwards.
Yes.
What initially drew you to the Phoenix Effect? I mean, they're a huge company, and the group you have. Like I saw the picture online of all of you together. It looks like a very energetic group.
Yes,
really, what kind of initially brought you to the Phoenix Effect?
Well, when I was training at a previous gym, at a private gym, Max Phoenix, who had started Max Phoenix, was basically, that was the seed that started the Phoenix Effect.
Got it.
And when Max Phoenix passed away, the owner, Beth Bishop, took it on and expanded as the Phoenix Effect. And it's literally gone from one format to a bunch of different formats, charities, social events, all kinds of things. So we do a lot with that. But she asked me to join the team, and that wasn't something I'd ever done before, and I honestly was like, let's get out of your comfort zone and let's try it and do something new. And ever since then, I have stuck with it.
It's, I mean, so you're really a manager. Like, what's your training manager? Or?
Yeah, I'm the fitness manager.
Okay, fitness manager. Okay.
But I coach as well. I coach a lot of classes because I'm very passionate about it.
Okay.
It's a place that can combine dance music and producer stuff with fitness. So I literally get to do everything I'm passionate about with charities, fitness, music, social things. It all comes together in one spot.
Oh no, I totally agree. And I mean, just also get to the philanthropy side. I mean, you do have done and still currently do so much to, I mean, like you said, for the benefit of others, to make sure other people have a chance to live happy and healthy lives. You did stuff. Let's go. I'm gonna pull up the list again. But you just, like, when Katrina came through, you volunteered with American Red Cross to assist with people in Katrina, which that was a not fun time either. You've done stuff with the One Campaign, fighting against extreme poverty and preventable diseases like HIV and AIDS. And then also doing stuff with your album, donating proceeds to the Save Darfur Coalition. And what if you could pick a favorite, what would kind of be your favorite charity or philanthropy organization that you've really worked with that you feel like, oh my god, I love this thing, the majority of my time in this one organization?
The thing that I was most, I think, passionate about, and that's still a situation that we're actually listening to happening right now, was anti-human trafficking. And that was particularly with Somali Mom Foundation, which is in Southeast Asia. And she would go in and pull these girls out and rehabilitate them and teach them a trade so that they could be able to take that on. And I saw that documentary one late night, and it blew my mind and it changed my life. And I think that's what I connected to mostly because especially with what's happening now, I know so many people affected by sexual harassment. And now we have all these stories coming about Hollywood. And thank God all these celebrities are coming up finally, because this happens to so many people.
It does.
It's happened to me, it's happened to my friends, and I love everybody speaking out about it. So anything that deals with like sexual harassment and this type of stuff is a really big flag.
And a lot of people don't realize, I mean, Los Angeles as a whole, I mean, especially over by Santa Monica, where they have the ports and the things that come in from across things, they have issues with drug trafficking, human trafficking, and it's just because we're a port city and a coastal city like that, we get hit with that so much more, and there are so many organizations around in the LA area that really help go towards that to help those individuals. And I mean, the whole Somali, where she takes them in, helps them to find a trade. I mean, it's really amazing like that. What was probably the one that really kind of gave you an insane perspective? Oh my god, are they going to do this? Oh, they're going by. Okay, god, they're going by. I always love that because we're right by the police station. But what was the one that kind of gave you a really new perspective on a certain, like, either a topic or a certain kind of issue that was out there you didn't ever, besides obviously this human trafficking, what was one that really was like, oh my God, this blew my mind that I had no idea this was such a bad issue in our either community or in our nation?
Well, the genocide in Darfur.
Yeah.
Like, that was absolutely mind-blowing that. But we know when you're younger, you're not exposed to so much of that, or you're not watching things on television that expose you to it.
Yeah.
And then when I learned about that, I was like, I have to do something.
Yeah.
A little is something.
Yeah.
Education to people, or donating some money, or making it just aware.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest ones. You know, and I don't work as much with those anymore, just because the ones that we're working with now, I'm doing a lot with the Phoenix Effect.
Right.
So we're doing things that are more LA based, with the Alliance for Housing and Healing, and then the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing, it's hard to, because there is, I mean, if you get involved, there is so much to get involved with. It is sometimes really hard to kind of pick and choose where you want to go.
Yeah.
A lot of people around here are very devoted to, especially with HIV and AIDS awareness and the different things like that. If you, like, go online, you can find so many different organizations around here that need help. Calling is sometimes the best thing you can do to help get them to get members or get donations, or just to be there. I mean, Trevor, I've done stuff worked with Trevor Project before, APLA, HF. There's amazing organizations in like your general backyard that have great effect on helping people, whether there's any kind of these different things. So go look up online, there's so much to get involved, or check out with the Phoenix Effect and you can find out some amazing things to do with them and also get your ass in shape. So there you go.
Yeah, we do the Spartan race training for free.
Oh gosh.
So if people want to do Spartan obstacle course race training for free, they can come in and we get you ready for the race in December. It just started actually, so if anybody wants to do that. We raise money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And last year we raised $97,000 as a team. And you race for free and you get free workouts, as long as you commit to raising a certain amount for each person.
Oh, that's really amazing, though.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So we raise that much, and it's amazing to watch a team of people come together to do that, and that's what we're about.
How big of a group is it typically?
That was, 60 people, I'm guessing.
So it's a pretty big group.
But we have 2 practices on Saturdays, so people can choose a morning or an evening one.
Got it.
It just depends, and some people don't want to do that at all. They just want to help fundraise and give money back. And the reason why I got fully into that was because of Patrick Petrino, who put on Sassy Inc. out here in West Hollywood, because he gave me my first club gig at Here Lounge when I was here. So he's a big reason of why I even started doing that and why it's important to me.
That's fantastic. And I mean, again, you can always go to Phoenix Effect and go check out their social media page. It's just phoenixeffect.com?
PhoenixEffectLA.com.
LA.com, okay. And yeah, check out what they have on their site. Again, go check out what he said for this. Though I've seen the Rambo Run, and that scares me because it is intense. It is cool, but it is really intense. But again, just raise donations for the Leukemia Foundation, and you can get free classes. So that's always great. Let's just take it back to the singing career a little bit. But for a lot of people out there that really are just trying to figure out, they're just getting started in this industry, they're just getting started to figure out what they want to do, and musically or as a musician, what's the one piece of advice you could give to someone to say, if I could go tell myself this back in the day, this is what I would have said, hey, make sure you do this in the very beginning, that way less hassle or not as much of a hassle?
I would say to trust yourself.
Okay.
Trust yourself and love yourself, because that's the way that you're never going to be strayed by what other outside influences are going to try to take from you.
Got it.
So if you have that self-love and that self-trust, nothing else that tries to impede on that will be able to break that. And that's what I allowed for me to happen during my journey. Right. So don't let anything if it doesn't work out, you let it fall to the wayside and you keep going.
Yeah. And that's the thing I think a lot of people don't realize. It's like nothing's ever going to work out perfectly.
Right.
Take it as it is, learn from it, and move on. Yeah. Move to the next thing. You can't let it weigh you down and bog you down with all that, especially in this industry, because they're just going to beat you down until they can make sure that you're going to be the one that's going to stick around. So the harder you work, the better it'll be. Thank you so much, Derek, for being here today. I really appreciate it. You can always go check out Derek online on the social media. Across the board, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's at Derek Jameson. And always, like, you can go to the PhoenixEffectLA.com and check out what he's doing through there. And always check out on his music. You can see that over on YouTube and just look up Derek Jameson. He's got like 10 years worth of songs to look at, and they're so much fun. Go check it out. We want to thank Gaylifela.com for making this possible because of that. And thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you have a great time. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye.